What's up? I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the Bourbon and Business Podcast,
where we interview successful businessmen and women to let you in on why success doesn't have a single formula to follow.
We also have a little bourbon tasting along the way, because why not? Why not?
So guys, please enjoy this episode and let us know your thoughts at Bourbon and Business Podcast on Instagram.
Coming to you from the Bourbon and Business Studio here at the AC Hotel in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Dakota.
And this is the Bourbon and Business Podcast. How you doing this morning, Dakota?
I'm great, Tyler. How are you?
Doing phenomenal. I'm just enjoying these great views we have here at the AC Hotel. Right now, we're in one of their conference rooms.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to get a business deal done, this is the place to do it. Or if you want to bring your team in and have like a coaching session, that's the place to do it. They got a huge whiteboard in here. If you want to bring the football team in here and draw out some game plans.
Some X's and O's.
I mean, anything you want to do. They got a projector screen.
Watch film.
Yep. And then if you're wanting to just relax, they've got a bar right outside the door.
Yep.
So beautiful place here. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. And then you want to introduce our guest to us.
I do. Today we have special guest Michael Hales, founder of M Squared Leadership Consulting.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great to be here.
Glad to have you. And then what are we sipping on, Dakota?
We are sipping on Jypsi Tribute. It's a double barrel bourbon. What you think? It's been aged 4 years.
It's different. When you smooth, so it's very smooth. Doesn't have a ton of burn to it.
Okay. What's the
So proof, I'm gonna say maybe a 90 proof.
86.
So
Pretty close.
So lower proof on it. So if you don't like that burn, the overpowering burn of the alcohol, it would be a good bottle for you to get. I'm almost picking up, and you may tell me I'm dead wrong on this, Dakota, like peanut type taste. Like I don't know where that's coming. That's kind of threw me off when I first tasted it. It's not like a peanut butter. It's like an actual like peanut taste. I don't know where that's coming from, but I mean, I like it overall. I think it's a smooth whiskey. I mean, I'm going to have to go with a 7.2.
Okay. That's not too
Do you know what we paid for that bottle? Do you remember?
around 50, 60
Around $50. So if you're looking for something a little smoother, that's not going to, warm you up, this is a good bottle to pick up. And if you want to pick a bottle of this up, you need to go to Cheers Vineyard in Gluckstadt and ask for JT. They've got pretty much anything you want. They've got it.
Yep. So JT can find it.
Yep. Got a
This is
great
the man.
collection there. So,
This is also like a nice looking bottle.
yeah, the
Not
bottle
every
does.
bottle looks like this. It's got like some different type of honeycomb design on the glass itself. So it's very nice.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it kind of gives me Cracker Barrel vibes on the color there. But, the bottle is very nice. So,
Yep. Okay.
well, Michael, we appreciate you coming on. We like to always start this, kind of tell our listeners where you're from.
Yeah.
And then how you got to the point of founding M Squared.
So I'm born and raised in central Mississippi, born in Morton, Scott County, and I grew up in a little town called Polkville. It's in Smith County, just across the line from Scott County, about halfway between Morton and Puckett, if you're familiar with that area at all. Polkville is known for a three-legged water tank. And they used to advertise on the radio. There was a little cafe there in the town. It's not much of a town, honestly. They're doing great now, but no traffic light, no one stop sign. They're kind of in the middle of the town, and there's a little cafe right underneath the three-legged water tank. So that was kind of Polkville's claim to fame. So I spent most of my life in the area. When I was a kid, we moved over to Alabama and stayed there for a few years when my dad's work moved him there. And then after I got grown and married, my career took my wife and me and our family to Baltimore, Maryland. We spent a little different. We spent 2 different periods of time up there, one for about 6 years, and then another for about 3. But other than that, born and raised around right here in these parts. So my kind of professional history as I started off, my first career after my second year of college was in Sara Lee Bakery in Forest, Mississippi. So I just started off in general production over there, and over a period of a few years, worked my way up through, got into quality assurance there, and then worked my way into a management position. That was my first kind of foray into that world of leadership. And suffice it to say, that did not end well. It ended suddenly and badly, and that led me to another career with my father-in-law's construction company. He did stucco work, and that was something that I had never done before. It was very foreign to me, a real learning experience, but I loved it. I kind of had an aptitude for it, and I did 5 years of that with him, worked my way up from an entry-level position in his company, they called it a helper back then. And then I can still remember when my pay stub language changed from stucco helper to stucco man. Man, I had arrived when I got that stucco man.
Is there a better feeling?
Stucco man designation. That was a big deal. But I eventually became a partner in his company with him and his son, and really loved that. But then that career also came to a sudden end. And it was bad in a different way. I had an injury. I fell off a roof and busted up my leg pretty badly and couldn't continue that. So I fell into my third career, which was in the federal government with Social Security Administration. I started in the Jackson field office, downtown Jackson, and that led me over the course of 25 years through a lot of different roles, a lot of different transitions. Really, really rewarding career. Eventually became a division director and then a senior advisor working with executives in our national headquarters in Baltimore. So that's how we landed up there.
Fantastic. Well, tell our listeners a little bit about, so you go from working outside,
Stucco man,
doing stucco, to then you're in an office at downtown Jackson. What was that transition like for you?
It was a big change. It's something, to be honest, I would have never done. I think had I not gotten injured, I would have stayed on that construction track and just made my career out of that for as long as my body would hold out. It was rough, grueling work. Yeah. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. But it was a big change. Like you said, it's one thing that's really fulfilling about doing construction work is you finish a job and then you move on. You can look and point at that and say, that's what I did. Check it out. Stucco man did that, and then move on and do something else. With office work, you don't get that same. It's fulfilling in its own way, but very different from that. Yeah. Because the job that I took in being a claims representative is I took disability claims from people who it was kind of funny. I'm sitting there with an external fixator on my still broken leg when I started with them, taking disability claims from people who, in a lot of cases, were much more able-bodied than I was at the time. But in any case, the work never stops. Yeah. It's one right after the other, and there's no shortage of people who need help, who need to file for disability, and it's just, you finish this claim, but there's 10 others, 5 others, however many others there are right behind them. And so it's a very different mindset. There's a certain degree of freedom that comes with being outside and going around from one job to the next. You lose that. It was a big transition.
Yeah. Well, what about, so you work for Social Security for 25 years, and then how do you jump into founding the consulting company?
So I did about 3 years as a claims representative with the agency, and I got picked up for a leadership development program. And so even though I had kind of done leadership in my other 2 careers, Social Security, to their credit, had a kind of a program. They had a plan for how to develop you and train you as a leader. And so once I kind of got into that world and they put me through some training and got exposed to some good leadership principles and concepts, I kind of started falling in love with the content, the principles. I'm a student at heart. I love learning, and I kind of just fell in love with it. And over the course of many years in trying to become a better leader, sharpen my chops, do all the things that come with that, I started getting exposed to some higher level leaders, and some people who taught leadership and did it really well, and that really got my attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great if someday I could do what they're doing? And so that kind of planted a seed of a dream that maybe one day I could do that. And my wife, the other M in M squared, Michelle, she's my best friend, my soulmate, and I would tell her all the things I was learning and how I was growing as a leader and all of that. And she loved it too. So we kind of started dreaming this dream together. And then, we started looking at sometime in the far distant future when I'm finished with my federal career, I'm able to retire and all that, maybe we'll go to this next step and do this. Well, the new administration came in back around the first of the year, and a lot of changes, as you can imagine, with the federal workforce started taking place. DOGE started doing their activities and trying to reduce the size of government, make it more efficient, all of this. And so, long story short, along with that came a buyout offer. And I'm like, this might be a good opportunity to have kind of a runway, even though it's a little ahead of my original timeline, might be a good time to go ahead and have a little runway to get this business started, and let's do it now instead of waiting. And so that's what we did.
And
here we are.
That's tough. I mean, you gotta be ready to jump at an opportunity like that, and you can't just have, here it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there it goes. If you wait, if you don't have a plan, if you don't think about it, then you're going to miss the one opportunity you might get.
Yeah. And to be honest, Dakota, I wasn't prepared. It moved my timeline up by about 3 years, but it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. And so you got to know me. I've always been kind of a conservative person, and I want to make sure that
all the ducks are lined up first.
Absolutely. I don't want to set myself up to fail.
Sure.
But I kind of had to take a risk. I had to take a chance to make this thing happen.
Welcome to
But I'm glad I did. Hey,
Good.
Mad respect to all the entrepreneurs out there. Entrepreneuring is harder than I gave it credit for. I'm learning that, but man, it is fun.
Yeah,
it is super
for sure.
fun.
Well, curious, wanted to ask you about, because you made a comment. So you were exposed to a lot of high level leaders and these leadership trainings and things like that. What characteristics did you see in these people?
That's a great question. I think number one, integrity. And as a skilled leader, you could easily fall into manipulating people for your own purposes, whether they're good or evil, your own intents. But the leaders that I saw that I really came to respect were those who valued people and wanted to help people because it's the right thing to do. I'm a huge fan and follower of John Maxwell. I'm certified through his leadership team. I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. I've read a lot of his work.
He's fascinating to me.
He's a very smart guy.
Yeah. The way he thinks about things.
Absolutely. It's different.
Yeah.
And there's a quote that he has that I won't get it exactly right, but it's to the effect that the leader's primary responsibility, and this is a little counterintuitive because we think of leadership, we think of somebody who's out there driving results and making things happen.
I picture like George Washington crossing the Delaware.
Getting business done. And that's what George did.
Yeah.
The mission had to be accomplished. He led them across the Delaware to get it done. But what Sinek points out is the leader's primary responsibility is to care for and nurture their people. And that kind of cuts against the grain a little bit because we think of driving results and getting things done, and we can easily start to see people as a resource and a means to an end to accomplish that. But no, we can get it skewed if we start thinking too much in that direction. And of course, leaders do need to get things done. That's the whole point. But your primary responsibility, and I love how Sinek puts it, take care of your people, not to be in charge, but to take care of those in your charge.
Yeah. And I think you touched on a great point there. As a leader, like you said, it is your responsibility at the end of the day to get the results.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing that, to also help the people that are assigned to you as well in doing that.
Yeah.
And getting them, I think you getting to the results that you want to can also be a positive thing for them, and in their life. And looking at it, say like, hey, that, my goal is to make these people's lives better. How can I do that to get to the result that I've been assigned? And I think a lot of times, like you said, it gets missed, because it's like, hey, I'm the manager,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to get to this result by any means possible, whether that means that I take advantage of, people that are working for me or whatever. And I think that, if you have that mindset as a leader, people are going to see that eventually, and they're not going to follow you.
Zig Ziglar said it perfectly. And what he said was, if you help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. And that, I think, is a perfect way to kind of summarize. I don't want to say it's my leadership philosophy, because that's a very broad statement to say, but I think that's the right way to do leadership. And it's just what you were saying. You can beat people into helping you get the results that you want, but the better way to go about it is you help them get what they want, and they will naturally help you get what you want.
So what is the process that you help take people and companies through when they come to you and they say, hey, I have no idea what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I'd like to be a better leader. I'd like to be better in business practices and principles. I'd like our team to be better. What's kind of the framework that you get through with?
Well, first of all, if somebody comes to us like that, my hat's off to them, because there are many, many people who just don't get it and don't understand and don't realize the importance of placing a priority on that and making it a focus.
And being honest enough with themselves to admit it. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. I believe that's true. And I think a lot of people just kind of run right past that and never even, pay attention to the fact that that's leadership is something that we all need to be working on. But to answer your question, when somebody comes to us, we want to meet them where they are. We don't have a, pre-packaged kind of, we've got some products, of course, that we offer, but the most important thing is to be able to sit down with them. We call it a discovery meeting. And that's at no charge. We'll kind of get in a conversation like we're doing here and find out where they are, and then figure out how to get them to where they need to go. And it all depends, because I mentioned that there's a lot of people and organizations out there that don't really get it and don't understand it. But there's a lot of them that are doing really well. And you can't have a one-size-fits-all kind of thing that you apply just across the board, and whoever walks in the door, so to speak, you give them this. That's not a fit for everybody. But we do keynote speaking, motivational kind of things. We do more focused training. We can develop something on communication or teamwork or conflict or whatever it is that you're facing for you and your team. We do one-on-one coaching. We do mastermind groups, which I really enjoy, which is like a study. John Maxwell has written literally almost 100 books, and he's recognized as, one of, if not the top leadership expert in the world, and has been for many years. So we have access to a lot of his material, and we'll take one of his books or even a book from some other thought leader in the leadership arena and just kind of walk through it on a kind of a weekly cadence. Okay, this week we're going to do chapters 1 through 3, and people will do their reading, and then we'll come together as a group and really unpack it and really dive into the content. And okay, what does this mean for us right here, right now? And what can we do to take the next step that we need? Things like that. We've got another product that is new to us, and we're really excited about. It's called the Leadership Game. And this is a Maxwell leadership product, and it's kind of a innovative and engaging. You just sit around a table and play. It's a board game, but it is designed to help bring Maxwell's leadership values and principles and methods into the real world in a kind of gamified way.
So I'm a game person.
Yeah,
I'm real competitive.
we should talk.
I will wipe the floor with anyone that I'm meeting.
Okay, now we need to maybe go back and revisit. Let's not get too carried away.
Well, how does an organization identify leaders and people that they can train up to take on those roles? Because I think that's one of the hardest things when you're in an organization. You have someone that is a great asset to the organization. Maybe they produce a lot of revenue for the company, but a lot of times that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a great leader. How do you identify that person in the organization and then give them the proper training, obviously, to become that leader?
Okay, so I think the starting point for where I want to go with this answer is, and this is something that I maybe struggle with a little more than I'd like to admit, but it's a Maxwell principle, and that is that people are valuable. Every person is valuable. And sometimes for me, it's hard. If you and I have a lot in common and I get to know you, it's easy for me to see your value.
Mm-hmm.
But if you and I are very different and I don't really know you and I just observe some things, I'm like, why is he behaving like that? It's sometimes harder to see that value.
Man, that guy's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And weird is in the eye of the beholder, as a very wise person I used to work with informed me and taught me. But everybody has value. So number one is you look for the value in every person. And you made such a great point that everybody can make a contribution, and all of our contributions might look a little different. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I want to be clear about is I don't think there are any born leaders. I think some people have traits and characteristics and skill sets that are natural to them by nature or nurture, that they've developed these qualities that help them to more easily become a good leader. But nobody is ever good at anything the first time. And you can be anointed into a leadership position, and even though you have some skills and abilities, you still got to figure out what you're about, how to do this thing, how to get it right. So there's, certainly people have potential. Some of them have potential and can be groomed into great leaders, but that's not a fit for everybody. And you made the point that there are some. Okay, this gets into a whole different thing that we're very passionate about, both Michelle and I, and that's middle management and how to develop middle managers and how organizations can care for and should care for their middle managers. So a lot of times what happens is someone distinguishes themselves as a great individual performer. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they're promoted into a leadership position, right? That's just the way it happens. Mike. Yep. And maybe they're not a fit. Maybe they're a great technician and that's what they're intended to be. And maybe there's a track that doesn't include leadership. Maybe they become a senior technician or an expert or whatever. And there's that track for them that they can continue to be an individual contributor and capitalize on those skill sets that made them great in that role. But then there are others, and maybe they never become a great individual contributor, but they know how to work with people. Mm-hmm. They know how to optimize and capitalize on relationships and how to encourage other people to get the best out of them. So it's complicated. That was a fantastic question. I love that.
Well, Tyler, I feel like you're good at all that stuff. It's no wonder you're so successful.
Thank you, Dakota. You're welcome. Well, what about how do you? Dakota's over here lying on the podcast, but anyways, what do you tell managers and leaders, about their relationship with the people that has been entrusted to them? So, obviously, it's one thing if me and you are on the floor working together or we're out in the field working together, we're, employees, we're in the same role.
Sure.
How we act, and obviously there's appropriate, ways to do that, but how we talk and have our day.
You're friends with those people.
yeah, you have a friendship with them.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different once you run into the role of, okay,
One of you gets
now,
promoted.
now I'm managing these people.
It becomes very
and how do I have a relationship with them? Obviously I care about them. I want to know about their life and all that, but not become so much of a friendship that, when I do have to have the hard conversations, that I'm still able to have those. How do you manage that as a manager?
And still command the respect that needs to happen in a leadership role.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, and it's a balancing act. I want to start with stressing and underscoring the importance of relationships, whether we're peers or whether you're my boss or I'm yours or whatever. You're not going to get very far in life going alone. You need relationships with others. You need to care for others and nurture those relationships. I can't overstate the importance of that. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is a lot of times when you see this manifest, it's in exactly the scenario we were talking about a minute ago, where someone is one of the team and now they're leading the team. That's a very difficult situation to be in. They don't know what to expect. This is the first time they've ever done this. It's difficult, and you have to. So the bottom line here is, don't just throw somebody into that situation and expect them to figure it out on their own. Maybe they will. Hopefully they will. But a lot of them don't, and they don't get it right. Get them off on a good foot by giving them some training. Bring in somebody who's been there and done that, and that can let them know what to expect. Okay, you're going to be in a position now to where you're still a member of the team, in that you're still working with these people, but the relationship that you enjoyed with peers, that has to change now.
It's going to look different.
And you're still going to be friendly, and you haven't transformed into a different person overnight, but now you have to be more careful, because I can't be buddies and you and I having lunch in my office while everybody else is out there wondering, well, what the heck's going on? What are they talking about?
You two can't talk about Jeff's stuff he's got going on anymore behind his back.
100%.
Tyler.
Yeah.
I don't even know Jeff.
Come on, Tyler.
But yeah, so and so what you're saying is like, obviously once you get in that leadership role, there can't be, kind of the best friend situation. That becomes a problem.
You kind of have to lay that aside, at least while you're in the workplace, and maybe even outside the workplace it gets complicated. But again, if somebody, it's their first time, they may not realize that. We all see from our own perspective, right? And it's easy to get tunnel vision, and the only thing I see is what I can see. And it's such a valuable thing to be able to perspective take from somebody else. Put yourself in their shoes and see how this looks from their angle instead of just mine. But if nobody has ever taught you how to do that, or that's even a thing, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, so you need somebody to help you.
How much slack do you give those new middle managers in mistakes that they're allowed to make before you're like, it's just not going to work? So those people that get promoted and it's just not working out.
That's a great question.
They're great producers. They're great team members. But when you promote them to that leadership position, it doesn't matter how long they've been there, how much training they get, how few people you put on their team, how different people you put on their team. They just don't perform well.
I think that's an art probably instead of a science. And there's a lot of factors in play. I guess the first thing I think about is,
you like this person and they've made a ton of money for the company. They're a great employee.
Yeah. And you don't want to make snap judgments.
Right.
You want to give the right amount of time to let this thing play out and see what's going to happen. And I guess some of the factors that I would consider is, what type of business are we in? Leadership is important no matter what you're doing. But in some cases, the importance is ramped up even more. I think about, like, life and death situations and where mistakes can impact lives in a very direct manner.
Military, law enforcement,
Yeah.
doctors and stuff.
Yeah, so it depends on the stakes. It depends on the competence and abilities of whoever is grooming that manager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'm a CEO sitting somewhere and I see 2 levels or 3 levels down from me, hey, this guy, this gal's not cutting it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look up line a little bit to see have they really been given a chance?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a formula that you can plug in that would spit out the right answer there.
Gotcha.
Probably depends.
Yeah.
How do managers keep their teams motivated?
Pizza parties.
Well, I think that's certainly not a bad idea. Motivation is tricky. On one hand, it's true that I can't truly motivate you.
Mhm.
Your motivation is going to come from wherever your motivation comes from. However, I'd also think it's true that I can create the right kind of environment, whether that's physical, whether that's the kind of team dynamic that we have, the cultural drivers of that kind of thing that will certainly bear on your tendency to be motivated or not. So I think paying attention to culture, and culture is not something that you write down on a piece of paper or a sign that you hang on the wall. It's what's actually happening in this organization and how we treat one another on a day-to-day basis. So really pay attention to that. Probably survey your people, really listen to your people, know what's going on in the teams that are within your purview, your organization. Physical environment, I mentioned that earlier. That's a big kind of, there's a term that I'm trying to come up with that I'm blanking on, but it's a real factor in how people feel about their about their work environment and about how things are going for them. And it has a real bearing on their degree of motivation to give their best, to do all the things that the company, their organization needs them to do. It can't be overstated the importance of the manager, the leader in a situation. It's been said that people don't leave organizations, they don't leave companies, they leave leaders, they leave managers. And I think that's very true. So paying attention, if you're a top level leader, paying attention to those that are reporting to you, that are overseeing others, your middle managers, and investing in them to make sure that they are doing things the right way, that they're espousing the organization's values, that they're living those out, and that you're not having some kind of mixed messages. If I'm the CEO and I'm espousing one thing, but then the people that are reporting to me and supervising the line level employees and team members, they're being treated completely different. Of course, motivation is going to go rock bottom.
And talk to our listeners a little bit. How does the top level leadership, the CEO, figure that out? I mean, obviously, if they're meeting with the middle management is coming in like, yeah, we're 100% behind, the message that you got here and what we're trying to push, but the employees on the front lines are not feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a disconnect there to that information getting to the executives. How do the executives figure out what's actually going on the front line?
They're never going to figure it out unless they're mindful about it, unless they're intentional about it. It's hard. Mm-hmm. If you're the boss, people tend to not want to tell you bad news.
Well, yeah.
It's the emperor has no clothes kind of principle. Nobody wants to tell him. And so if you're in a top level leadership role like that, you have to be super intentional. And Maxwell says, walk slowly through the crowd. And I love that kind of image that evokes for me. And that's mix with the people. Get out there, talk to the people, and really listen. it's more than just, hey, how you doing? Okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
You're never going to hear if that kind of thing is happening. That's not the way you're going to figure it out. You've got to linger. You've got to be out there. You got to talk to your middle managers and listen critically to what they're telling you. And then you also got to talk to the people that they're leading and listen to what they're telling you.
You got to have that safe space where people can actually
No
feel
doubt.
and know that they were heard without fear of.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the fear there is like, well, if I tell this guy or this gal what I really feel, and that this is like the dumbest policy I've ever heard on the face of the earth, and it's going to lose our money or our business a lot of money, they're probably going to fire me. You know, so I'm not going to say a word. And if it happens, so be it.
How you respond as a leader to bad news is going to determine how candid people are with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if I know and I come in and I tell the boss that I hate to tell you, buddy, but things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you blow up or get mad or, throw something across the room, do you think anybody's ever going to come tell you that again? Of course not. And you're going to be in the dark. You're going to have your blind spots. And that's the thing about blind spots. We all have them, and you're never going to figure them out by yourself. You've got to have other people to show you where you have blind spots.
Tyler is great at pointing out every weakness that I've ever had in my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a great
I hope you
spot
thank
to
him
point
when
out.
he
It's
does that.
I do. I
It's
say
my
thank you so
gift.
much. Yeah. I say thank you. Can I have some more, please?
I said, I'll have you a list next week.
And then he gives me more.
And do you return the favor?
I don't. I'm scared to.
Yeah, he does on the podcast.
It's
Does he-
terrifying.
Does he throw things?
He does. Throws things off, tantrum. It's
Yeah.
anyway.
He's been making up all kind of stuff on this podcast.
I love the fact that you mentioned the culture and how that impacts the relationship with management and middle management and the employees, because I love the meme of it's just a picture of a cubicle from like 1990s with like an old Windows PC. And it's like, this is our fast paced, family oriented culture. You know what I mean? And it's just like a sea of cubicles in the one manager corner office. And I'm like, oh, that's such a stereotypical view of the environment, but it's so true in a lot of workplaces. They're like, we're fast paced, we're family oriented, everybody here is family and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, you just straight line to people now. Like,
Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Talk is cheap.
Show me what you mean. And now it can be that environment is not necessarily like physical, like that can be the physical environment and still be great, family oriented or whatever. But the image that it paints is just like this. Yeah. Like you said, talk is cheap. It doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah. And it manifests in your physical environment as well. I know you said that's not exactly what you're talking about, and I get it. But if you say we value quality and precision and accuracy and customer service, and you come in and your physical workspace looks like a pigsty, that's mixed messages there, and
true.
that's going to bear on your mental situation and your psychological headspace, and it's gonna manifest. You can only squish that stuff down so long.
I don't have enough room up there to deal with more stuff.
None of us do.
I need as clear space as possible. I've got limited workspace I'm working with.
Well, Dakota, I think it's a good time for a bourbon break.
Yeah, man.
Give us your thoughts.
I thought Jypsi, what is it called? Jypsi Tribute Double Barrel Bourbon. I thought there was like a rich sweetness to it at the beginning, which I really liked. There's like a deep brown color here, which kind of adds to that a little bit from the physical side of things. Well done on the peanut flavor. I think it was more of a cashew, but I'm going to give it to you. I thought it was really, really, really spot on there. Nice aftertaste, very unique flavor profile just altogether. I don't think I've ever tasted a bourbon like this. But it wasn't necessarily my favorite. So I'm landing at 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
This is 7.5 on a 10 scale
Yes.
of your personal preference. Gotcha. Okay.
So not a bad bottle. If you want a bottle of it, go to Cheers Vineyard and pick it up. And then
And tell JT, hey.
Yep. And so tell us a little bit about, so we hear all the time now, obviously you used to be the millennials, we're coming into the workplace, now we're getting old. So we're the older people in the workplace.
They don't want to work, they're lazy, all the things.
How do you bridge that divide between the different generations and make a great work culture, like you said earlier?
This is something that is a very timely topic. It's something that's on a lot of people's minds, a lot of leaders' minds, and you nailed it, because what we're seeing now in the workplace is I am an early Gen X. I almost was a boomer, but just missed the cutoff there. But what you're seeing is your people like me, people of my kind of generation, Gen Xers and boomers, are the ones who have, as we all did, started at the bottom, came up through the ranks. And I told that story at the beginning of our conversation of how, that's what I did. And so you've got people like me in these senior leadership positions who have very fixed ideas about how things are supposed to work, how they work for us, how they should continue to work, because that's just how we do it. And now, so we're in these senior leadership positions, and the people who are coming into the new entrants into the workforce are the Gen Z people who are, from like 1997 through about 2012. So there's a generation that comes in between us and the Gen Zers. That's millennials. So we've got a gap, not only from one generation to the next, but there's one in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whenever you have that, you have less and less in common.
Mm-hmm.
So we, older Gen X and boomers, really don't see eye to eye with these Gen Z new people coming into the workforce, and it is really problematic. Now, I think the thing that we need to understand and that we need to appreciate is we don't need to be so quick to rush to judgment. What you were saying, whichever one of you it was, about the characteristics that we normally associate with Gen Z, some of that stuff is true. I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. It's not for nothing. But the better approach is to not paint with a broad brush, is to really have conversations and understand where they're coming from. And in our work, what we've discovered is that these folks really do have a lot to offer if you can get past the natural tension that comes when you're trying to skip a generation and connect with the one that's separated by a whole generation in between. If you can press past that and push past that and really get to what these folks are about, you find that they're very passionate, they're values driven, they don't accept things at face value just because you said so. They want to understand why. And they think they're I hesitate to use the word entitled, but they think they have a right to question why. Whereas my generation, we didn't.
Yeah.
If the boss said do it, we just do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And as fast and as hard as you can. But yeah, this generation is not content to settle for that, and they're going to push back. And sometimes their pushback based on the passionate way that they see things and feel about things gets misperceived as some kind of entitlement, which is really unfortunate and not entirely accurate.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, that a lot of that goes to, the different generations, how you were raised.
Yes.
The older generation, our generation, asking your parents why when they told you to do that was usually probably not a good practice. Typically that was going to be met with, a smack or, hey, like, because I told you so.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, it's a dumb idea, but, he told me to do it, so I'm going to figure out how to do it. But
my favorite story is the one with you drilling in the wall.
Yeah.
You're going, are you sure?
Yeah. My dad's got me drilling in a wall in the house, and I'm like, are you sure it's drill right? He's, I drilled the drill, and I do, and I hit an electrical line, blows the drill up. I'm looking, I'm like, man, like, okay, because you said so.
Oh, that story.
But but seriously, that is, now I think because of, we have progressed as a society. I think that a lot of times there is, okay, why why not give someone an explanation on something? Because it teaches them.
Yeah.
Hey, if someone wants to know why is it done this way? Okay, well, this is why we have to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you may get the perspective from them. There may be another way to do it.
That is so good.
And I think that's where innovation happens.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of pushing back on this is the method, this is how we have to do it, maybe take some advice, maybe take a fresh set of eyes on it.
Think
Gen
about
Z
it like
is
this.
incredibly efficient. They know how to use technology in ways that
100%.
the older generations would never even think.
You almost previewed what I was about to say. Think about when I came into the workforce. I didn't have anything to offer. I had a little bit of education, things that I learned in school, but I didn't know how to do anything. I had no tools, had no resources. I just point over here and tell me to do something and I'll go do it. These Gen Z kids have a lot more going on than that. They've grown up with the combined cumulative knowledge of human existence in the palm of their hand in a smartphone. They don't need me to give them information. They've got all the information there is. They know how to get it. They understand technology. They almost have this prophetic kind of thing going on where they can see maybe what's coming next. They're quick to adapt to the newest things coming down the pipeline. I just got on social media this year. I resisted it for so long. I'm just now learning a little bit about AI. These kids are way more advanced than I am on all of that stuff.
Tyler's our AI expert.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I might need to talk to you after the show.
I wouldn't be able to give you much information. He's lying again.
You might get dumber.
But these kids are coming into the workforce with a lot to offer. And if we older boomers and Gen Xers can find a little bit of humility to learn from them, of course they need to learn from us as well, because we've got lived experience that, all the knowledge in the world can't replicate. But they don't need information. They need us to teach them how to apply that information and what to do with it. But this kind of mutual, almost reverse mentoring, learning from them, that's such a good point that you brought out, because there's a lot that they can offer.
Yeah.
There's I've noticed so I used to work at a super large corporation, and we had every age gap, but I was the youngest because I was 23 at the time. And so I was the tech guy, right? Anytime anything happened with a computer, Dakota, come help. I don't know what's going on. And I'd turn it off, turn it back on, and it would work. But there was this gap, and I saw it because I would ask somebody how to do something on one of the systems, and instead of just showing me, they would take out their book that they had written out instructions on, and it was a step-by-step process to print something out, to make this form, to fill out something on the computer or on the document or whatever. And I was like, this is so weird. I've never had written instructions on how to do anything with technology. That was just foreign to me. And then you get young kids to come in and somebody shows them how to do it, and they're like, okay, got it. Because it's intuitive at that point. Because you're right, they grew up with it. But it's also the way that those people think. The older generation, like you said, you tell me to do something and I do that thing. Yeah. Whereas the younger generation is asking, why? Does it make sense to do it that way? If I hit the X, that's how I exit out of something. That makes sense. That's intuitive. If I swipe up, that's my home button on the iPad. That makes sense. It's intuitive. Whereas somebody else will be like, is it this button? Oh, I turned it off. Oh man, how do I turn it back on? It's you've got to have, okay, if I want to go to the home screen, I swipe up on the, you know what I mean? There's always got to be a process for it. But with the younger generation, it isn't a process, it's a feeling. How do I get from A to B, and how do I do it in the most efficient way possible?
Yeah, and at the root of all of it is understanding. It's communication. It's being able to have a conversation and figure out, where is this person coming from, and help them understand where I'm coming from, and kind of meet in the middle instead of digging in our entrenched positions and assuming a combat stance. Of course, that's not going to get us anywhere.
Stalemate.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, Michael, we appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely. I had a blast.
We like to always take this time, tell our listeners, how can they find you? So someone's saying, hey, we've got some leadership issues, or maybe they don't. And they say, hey, we just want to continue to sharpen are leaders in our organization, how do they get in touch with you to get you in for that initial conversation?
The best way to reach us is probably through our website. It's M2, M2-lead.com.
Perfect.
M2-lead.com. We're on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok. I don't really get TikTok.
TikTok.
Maybe y'all can explain that to me.
I
when we get
cannot.
back here.
So we're both at a loss there.
But yeah, through the website, you can, connect with us on all those different channels.
Yeah.
YouTube, we've got a YouTube channel.
Nice.
Just released a new thing about Gen Z.
Perfect. Well, you have to get your Gen Z person on staff to teach you TikTok. So
Yeah.
they'll be able to do it. So, but
Yep.
well, all right. Well, to all our listeners, have you streamed this podcast? If you would give us a rating, follow us on social media, and we'll see you next week.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
If you have any feedback or would like to be featured, reach out to us at bourbonandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com.
Or find us on Instagram at Bourbon and Business Podcast.
Thanks again for listening.
Follow us for more content and info on the next episode.